Alexander III was born in Beja, Macedonia, in 356 BCE to King Philip II and Queen Olympia. The Greeks always believed that they were destined to rule the world. Philip held this view too, until the age of 16. His son Alexander was brought up on this belief in Tales of Glory, along with the teachings of Aristotle, a great teacher of the ancient world. In 336 BCE, Alexander's father Philip was assassinated, and at just 20 years old, Alexander claimed the Macedonian throne. Alexander was more than a match for his father's ambitions. He was charismatic, ruthless, brilliant, diplomatic, and power-hungry. He conquered the whole of the Persian Empire. Alexander blazed the path east, conquering Thebes, Ionia, Tyre, Egypt, and finally, Persia. He rolled over the Persian Empire just like that. He went, he saw, he conquered. And that is why he was given the title Alexander the Great. But nothing was enough. His aim was to conquer the whole world. And soon, his conquest brought him to the very edge of the known world. According to his teacher, Aristotle, India. And how can a world conquest be complete without India being conquered? Alexander continued on his journey to conquer the world and reached to the northwestern part of India, conquering all that lay in between Greece and India. Alexander was like a forest fire, destroying everything in its path, consuming entire empires and kingdoms. This fire ravaged across the Indus and into Takshila. Afraid of the all-conquering flames, King Omphis surrendered Takshila to Alexander. After gaining control over the prestigious Takshila city, which had the world-famous Takshila University, Alexander and his army were in good form. But then, a storm awaited Alexander. The eye of the storm. King Porus, the king of Punjab, was a worthy challenger to Alexander. Though Porus and his army was outnumbered by Alexander, they had a secret weapon which the Macedonian horses weren't prepared for: 100 elephants. In an ideal world, this battle should have ended right there. How can horses possibly win against elephants? You see, nothing about history is ideal. Just when it seemed like Alexander didn't stand a chance, the heavens opened up and the battleground became a muddy trap for the elephants. Porus's biggest weapon became his biggest weakness. The elephants got trapped in the mud, and that turned the odds in Alexander's favor. After 7 hours of gruesome fighting, the Battle of Hydaspes ended. Porus's tired soldiers were defeated, and Alexander remained undefeated. The mighty Porus, defeated at last. You fought well, and your men were brave. But alas, they don't call me Alexander the Great for nothing. Now, tell me, Porus, how should I treat you? Treat me as a king would treat another king.
Impressed, Alexander indeed treated him like a king, allowing him to retain his lands. He allowed him to rule over his old kingdom as a governor. After securing kingdoms present in the Punjab region, Alexander now sought to conquer areas further east, along the Gangetic Valley, which were extremely fertile and populous. He continued his expedition east. But would his dream finally come true? Would he become the undefeated king of the world? The army of Alexander was approaching the boundaries of the Nanda Empire. But Alexander had to face a new obstacle now. Alexander's army, exhausted from the continuous battle campaigning, demanded that they should return to the west. The army had made it as far as the Hyphasis, the modern Beas River. They had been away from home for more than 8 years, fighting strangers in even stranger lands. No wonder they were tired. The situation wasn't helped by a rumor that the Nandas had a massive army waiting to crush the Macedonians. According to Plutarch, the Greek scholar, the army of the Nanda Empire consisted of 200,000 infantry, 80,000 cavalry, 8,000 chariots, and 6,000 war elephants. The troops got so scared by the rumors that they rebelled and refused to fight. After sulking about this for a while, finally Alexander had to accept that he had no option but to turn back home. As Alexander turned back, he appointed some of his Greek generals to administer the vast areas he had conquered. But obviously Alexander's generals weren't as great as Alexander, and so they weren't able to maintain peace and order in their territory. Alexander was now no more than 32, but already showing marked signs of physical and mental decline. Finally, on his way back to Macedonia, he got a fever, probably malaria, and a few weeks later, the conqueror of the known world was dead. Most likely at the hands of a humble mosquito. He was just 32 years old.
If you like this video and want to watch many